Chapter 1, we see the sink and the plumbing that was here in this corner of the cellar. Since that time, I have removed the sink. Found no good use for it down here. Capped off the drain and removed the steel plumbing. All the old galvanized iron pipe that came from, in this case, that plug there is the hot water, and then the cap on that pipe a little further back and above is the cold water. And all this work is in preparation of replacing all the steel pipe with copper, and then branch off that with plastic piping, PEX it's called. So I made the changes in taking out that steel. I've come in and rearranged this copper a bit, got the connections in place for a 3/4 inch PEX, and hopefully my solder joints are all good. And down here, all this copper was put in, obviously, is a update when this rear bathroom was plumbed in. And since my plans involve putting in a whole house filter, the outside will have its separate circuit of unfiltered water. So I had to cut that valve. There was a valve here. Cut that out, cap that, and then there'll be a line that'll come back here for the outside spigot when you need water in the backyard. But this is all in preparation for the big project. And I'll go up front and start talking about that. One of the pleasant surprises that I had when I bought the house was that the city had come through and redone the water lines, and this is actually a plastic line that comes in from the street, so no more steel, which I assume is probably that pipe there that's got the elbow to nowhere, because I had a fear that that was the case and that I would have to be digging up the yard at some point, because those steel pipes eventually corrode away and end up doing a major project to dig up the yard and get that replaced. So that's not the case here, and I'm happy about that. And this arrangement here is rather confusing at first, but with the old system, the meters were in the house. Now they're out in the yard by the street, and so the meter here was no longer necessary, so they put this little bridge pipe across this structure here, and then from there, then the water comes up and goes across, and this is of course all steel, and goes down towards the back of the house and splits off for the spigot to the outside of the house, which you can't quite see from here, but continues on, and everything is fed off of this steel pipe. And then you saw the stubs at the back side there that I plugged and capped until such time as I get all this ripped out. So it goes to the hot water heater, and of course then from the hot water heater is again steel pipe. So And as all steel pipe is, it's all full of rust and crud and very nasty, and that affects the water pressure and everything else, of course. So that's the project. Get rid of the steel and replace it with copper and PEX. Well, I've got a hint following that steel pipe there from where it comes into the house of what I'm doing here. Well, I've built this little board here to mount, and this thing, which is the cap of the whole house water filter, and I just haven't screwed the filter, the bottom of it on, screws on where it holds the filter at this point. I'm just kind of I've soldered a lot of this together, but this one here, this is the unfiltered line for the outside spigots, and that will go, and then continue on, and then down here it'll then switch to PEX to go to the spigot that's on the side of the house, and then continue on in PEX to that back corner you saw earlier. So that'll be the unfiltered portion of this concoction. And then from the water filter, then we have two circuits, and these valves here, so you can drain, in case of the, come winter time, you want to shut or open them up actually, so that you can then drain the water out of the line so they don't freeze once this valve is turned off, as it is right now. But I have two different circuits here, so that this circuit here will be the cold water for the downstairs and also feed the hot water heater. And then this circuit here will go from here at PEX all the way back, and that'll feed the cold water for the upstairs. So that if you ever need to do any kind of service on either one of these circuits, then you're just shutting off the water to the upstairs, draining it, and then doing the maintenance work or changes, and then you can turn it all back on. Same thing for downstairs. If you need to make any changes or whatnot, you just shut this off, drain it, and go about your business of making changes on the plumbing downstairs. So that's what this project is all about. We'll get rid of the steel and replace it with copper. I'm going to run copper for the downstairs to the hot water heater, and then split off for the bathroom and kitchen downstairs here with PEX, and then from the hot water heater will be PEX to the back, and then for the upstairs hot water, I'm using the one hot water heater for both floors, but upstairs I'm also going to put in a small little electric thing so that you don't have to run hot water forever to get it hot up there. It'll happen pretty quickly, and then the main hot water heater then will be kicked in by that point in time, I suppose, and you'll be getting hot water out of this thing. But if you just have to, wash your hands, or something, and you'll get hot water quick, and that'll be enough to do that chore, and tapping anything out of the hot water heater. Significant anyway. So this is the project. We're going to get rid of all this old steel pipe, and we're going to filter all the water that comes in inside the house, and yeah, make everything nice and updated and good water pressure. My neighbor Jack came over to help, brought his sawzall, and between him and my sawzall we got all of the steel pipe cut out, all the main line, everything from the hot water heater. We've disconnected these spots here in preparation for the PEX that will replace these connections, and got rid of all the pipe along here. And of course, wouldn't you know it, that pipe there ripped off. I'm hoping maybe there's enough thread up in there still. I can get a elbow or something screwed, salvage one, and get that screwed up in there. But here's the rest of that steel pipe, and we're going to start fresh from where it comes in from the city, from outside, from this valve here, and we're going to copper up to this point, and then we'll copper on down in place of that steel pipe down this way here. Got it dry fitted down to a point, and then for the upstairs I got the fitting on there, and that'll be PEX all the way to the back for the upstairs. So it makes a little bit of a wet mess, and so the next thing I'm going to do is disconnect the pipes from the hot water heater here. Before we started, obviously I turned off the valve from the city and opened up all the valves and all the fixtures upstairs, and then hooked the hose up, wrapped it around, stuck it in the sump here so the pump could pump it out and drain a little water out of the hot water heater, so the pipes hopefully, you know, would drain into the water heater. And then I may just drain it completely and flush it. It probably hasn't been flushed since it was installed. But now I got to disconnect the pipes from the water heater, and these boogers, instead of bringing 3/4 inch pipe down to the water heater, they switched over to 1/2 inch, so that nobody had a good supply of hot water. This is where the cold comes in here on that side, and then on the other side's the valve, and it comes up and then went on, and from there, and then fed the house. And that's all demoed now, so I'm ready to break these, crack these unions open, get that out there, and then turn these reducers off of here and put the replacement pieces in place. So that's coming up next. Stay tuned. Got all the copper put in now, and I find that I've got a faulty solder joint there, so I'm going to have to crack open that union and drain that bit of pipe out and heat that sucker up and try to get that fixed. Had trouble with both of these unions. This one's still seeping a little bit of water, and this union here really gave us a big problem, and we tried to putty that up to get that stupid thing to seal, and I can see it's still seeping a little bit. Got a little water on the bottom of it there. I don't know if that'll ever stop. Getting this filter housing tightened on there too was more of a chore, but oops, I don't know, might have a little bit of grip on that yet. I had to tighten that silly thing down. Yeah, it looks like it's still, and I hate to do that because then I have to crack this open again. Jeez, oh Pete, these stupid copper unions are really a pain in the butt. So that delayed this whole project, and so I went overnight without water. Good thing I filled up a bucket with some water and haven't flushed the toilet yet, so but got all the copper put together now. And again, well, I did have a bad solder joint on that bottom connection of that valve there. Had to reheat that and get that resoldered. Now that's solid. So sometimes it's just hard to see if the solder is flowing properly into these joints. But we've got the copper goes all the way down now. All the way down. And duck under the duct. And the union coupler there, I should say, to extend the pipe. And we extend the pipe over to this point here, and that's our first connection that will go to the bathroom. If I can figure out how to salvage that old piece of pipe where the T tore off. And so we go on down with our new copper, and we get down into the more interesting part of the project, where we tee off two more places to feed cold water to the shower in the kitchen. That first tee off is going to go PEX over to a T for the toilet and the sink, if I can get that pipe somehow reconnected. But then it comes down into the hot water heater, and pardon the random video footage here while I crawl around to the other side. And so we tee off of that, and we come into the water heater now with the proper dielectric union, and a shut-off valve for the cold water. And from that end of there, that will be the cold water that goes back to the back of the house for that back bathroom, 3/4 inch PEX. And then this little kind of antler thing for the hot water heater, that first one will go to the bathroom sink. These two will go to the kitchen and shower, and then that 3/4 inch connection will then go to the back of the house, which will feed the back bathroom, and then tee off to go for the upstairs when I get ready to redo that. So, copper's all in place. Until we get the pecs all connected, I won't be able to pressurize it and see if my solder joints are all good. Hopefully they are. Hopefully, especially around where the pecs is going to join, because I won't be able to heat that up without damaging the pecs, I don't imagine. So we'll find out how that all works out. But copper's all in place now. No more copper well, other than the outside spigots. I got a little work to do on that, but copper work is done, and that'll end this episode. And the next episode we'll start doing the plastic pipe.